Hello. How's everyone doing? Game week 28 is round the corner. One day, we don't really get very much time to kind of prepare for this game week, but I'm sure many of you have done plenty of preparation. Anyway, we have had a bit of time to think about it, but it is kind of, straight in after the Manchester Southampton game, which, hell of a game, I must say. We don't have too much time to kind of think about potential transfers, and we've also got Europa League fixtures tonight. Being played very soon, actually. So, yeah, that's definitely another thing to think about. So, if you are someone who's debating bringing Bale in, which I am definitely in said camp, I'd hold off until after tonight, until we get to that kind of confirmation that Bale doesn't go and injure himself ahead of game week 28. Also, let me know down in the comments how you guys did in game week 27. I know that there were quite a few high scores. I was definitely in the high scoring camp, fortunately. But yeah, there was also a lot of people who maybe didn't have the best of weeks either. So yeah, let me know down in the description or in the comments. I always say, why do I say the description? It's silly. It's silly. But let me know down in the comments how you did in game week 27. So let's get straight on into the team. Let's get straight on into how the team's lining up. Get your words out. Come on, fella. Here we go then. So this is how the team's lining up for game week 27. Werner and James in for Cancelo and DCL. Werner captain. Jeez, Ethan, that is bold. I will say that. That is very, very bold. Werner coming in. Werner and James. I'm assuming you mean Reece James. Two Chelsea assets ahead of Leeds. I mean, that could really pop off for you, to be honest. That could absolutely bang. I mean, Werner, personally, I'm just not that confident in him, one, starting every game, and also just scoring. I think that is, very punty. Have you made those moves yet, mate? Because, it's questionable ahead. I think for Chelsea, Mason Mount seems like the guy to go for at the minute. I mean, he did get benched, unfortunately for him. So, yeah, I mean, not ideal for those who own Mason Mount. But I think going forward as well, like, we will see him playing a lot more minutes. Just, unfortunate that the Champions League was around the corner and decided to give him a bench. But also in terms of Chelsea, Azpilicueta is probably the main man. He's playing every single game, or has played in every single game under Tuchel, so he's kind of seems like the main man, the main rocker at the back, and he's also pretty good for bonus points as well. And Chelsea, one of the best defences in the league since Tuchel's come in. So yeah, I think Azpilicueta and Mason Mount will be the two that I'd go for Chelsea. But fair play to you if Werner goes and bangs and you've captured him. Fair enough. Cancelo and DCL. Cancelo. Oh, so in for Cancelo and DCL. Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think I'd be getting rid of Cancelo. Considering he got benched, I think he'll definitely play against Fulham. So that means, Cancelo always has the chance of massive hauls in games. So although you're probably quite frustrated, and I believe, Stones owners will be as well. I wouldn't be, shipping them out ahead of Fulham, just because Fulham, they'll make the game tough, and they'll make it hard for City to score, but I don't think they'll be scoring. I do think that that Cancelo is a keep for this game week. Will Grealish play tomorrow, Sal? I mean, I don't want you to know this information, but I'm gonna give it to you. Dean Smith has come out and said that Grealish will not be available for the game. So I think that probably means for you, fella, to get him gone. You've held on for him for such a long time, but I do think he will be back for game week 29. Don't hold me to that, but I do think he'll be back for then. So I guess it just sort of depends who you bring it in. Is it worth, have you got a bench player who you can play instead? That is worth you, I guess, holding on to Grealish for one more week as he comes back. But yeah, he's definitely confirmed to not be playing against Newcastle, and then also could miss the Spurs game. So potentially that is a transfer out for you. Leeds, Palace, and West Ham. Leeds, Palace, and West Brom next three. Need to catch up in mini leagues, and seems like a decent captain. Yeah, to be fair though, I think that Chelsea look good. So as I said, Azpilicueta and Mason Mount the guys to go for. But you can almost, when you're trying to catch up in mini leagues, you can almost go to the other end of getting too punty to the point where you just completely take yourself out of the race. So I think catching up is the the hardest thing, because it feels like you need to do something to catch up, whereas in reality, I feel like doing a lot less is more likely to get you to catch up. Since game week 19 or something like that, basically the first half of the season, I was taking a lot of minuses. I think I may have taken 8 or 9 minus fours in the first half of the season. Got to the second half of the season, game week 19, and I was like, you know what? I'm calming down. In the second half of the season, I've only taken 1 minus 4, and that was ahead of the double game week, the big one. Game week 26, I believe it was. So only took 1 minus 4 there. That paid off. But since then, I'm just like, no minus 4s for the rest of the season. No kind of big punts. I'm just going to play it I know it's boring, but play it kind of reasonably by the book. I did bring in 2 Leicester defenders. That is a bit of a punt. 1 Leicester defender is a punt enough, but 2 hasn't paid off too well at the minute. But we move. But yeah, I think that almost doing less is more likely to get you to catch up in the middle leagues, and obviously just hitting your captaincies. So obviously Werner could pay off, but it may be one of those where it'll pay off for 1 game week, but in the long term, a player like Harry Kane will just absolutely smash him to pieces. So yeah, I'd be wary of that. I was on 100k red arrow until Kane and KDB captain came in and gave me a nice 50k green arrow. Yeah, Kane was an interesting one because he's not actually that highly owned. He's now 38% owned, which was a lot lower in the previous game week. I don't know. Yeah, which was a lot lower than at the start of the game week. I feel like that ownership might have gone up by like 10%. So he wasn't differential, but he definitely wasn't a player he wasn't like on the effective ownership of sort of the likes of Salah, the likes of Bruno, that if you didn't own him, he would really punish your rank. But if you did own him, obviously with the 19-pointer, you'd have been absolutely sent flying. So yeah, 100k red arrow up to 50k green is very nice to see. What's your rank at the minute, Dylan? I can't remember what you said it was, but I believe you're doing pretty decent. I myself got about 130k green arrow, which I was very, very chuffed with, up to 378k, and really trying to push to get to anywhere kind of around the top 100k mark by the end of the season. I'd be well chuffed, considering the fall from grace that I had kind of halfway through the season. I usually take a -4, but with the game week 31 fixture swing, I have to take a -4 in 31 and a -8 in 32. You're planning ahead. What are you planning on doing? Because it seems like you're already kind of committing yourself to moves that, when it comes to it, may not actually turn out to be great. I don't know what you're planning on doing, but I wouldn't. That was one thing I definitely did at the start of the season as well, is that I was committing myself to moves. I was looking at price changes. I was kind of committing myself to moves 3 game weeks down the line when things have totally changed. I was committing myself to price moves, and then I was basically like giving myself no flexibility. So I think planning maybe like 1, 2, max like 3 game weeks ahead. But every 3 game weeks you'll see like a swing in form, a swing in fixtures for a few teams. So I think that very much going with the flow of the current fixtures, and then having like a template of players like Harry Kane, like Bruno, like Son, like Martinez, who just kind of play week in, week out no matter the fixture, is good. Then you can kind of, I guess, build the differentials around that. I don't usually take -4s. I completely understand you. But yeah, what are your plans, Dylan? Because it sounds like you've got things mapped out for a bit. I personally was looking at Aubameyang, but just because he got benched the other week, and with the Europa League fixtures and the likelihood of more benchings, I just don't think I'm going to put that much money into a player who's probably going to get benched, who I'd probably captain and then go and get benched. When Saka is just sitting there at 5.3 million, meaning that if he plays, great fixtures, and also has pretty high potential of scoring, and also if he does get benched at 5.3 million, it's not that big of a deal, because I will have a player who can come in for Saka, who would do a lot better than the player who would come in for Aubameyang, because I'd have a bit more money distributed around on the bench. I'm also hoping that we hear some good news about Raul Jimenez. I know that there's some talk. Well, Nuno has said that he should be playing before the end of the season. So yeah, if he can keep on making steady progress and get back from what was a horrible injury for him, then Nuno Jimenez could be a really, really great transfer in. Do let me keep know in the comments any plans, any transfers you have ahead of this game week. We currently are going with the double Leicester defence against Sheffield. Now, the double Leicester defence, so far since I've had them, has not particularly paid off very well, to be honest. It's really not paid off too well. It's not been ideal. They haven't kept a clean sheet yet. Pereira, who I was expecting to get attacking returns because of how high up he's getting, hasn't really done much yet. Pereira's one that I am going to hang about, though, because the guy's effectively playing at right wing. So between now and I think game week 35, which is when I would look to take him out, he can hopefully, because he's playing so high up the pitch, get some kind of attacking return. And yeah, this is probably the last game we're going to see of Soyuncu in my team. Been a bit of a disappointment, to be honest, but if he could go out on a high, grab a clean sheet against Sheffield, that'd be absolutely wonderful. Martinez in goal, kicking us off on the Friday night football. Hopefully Martinez can just come in with another nice clean sheet, another nice bonus point, another nice save point. Also the Bellum. Martinez taken away. Was it? You got taken 2 bonus points off him and a save point, or a save point and a bonus point. It ain't right. It ain't on. Give it to him. Kobe, how you doing, fella? Hope all is well. But yeah, Martinez should be keeping a clean sheet really against Newcastle. There is chatter of Callum Wilson making a recovery from injury potentially for this game. I'm not 100% sure whether he will play, though, because they have that Brighton game the week after. If it's a bit touch and go, I reckon they're not going to risk it with Wilson, because that Brighton game is so important to both Brighton and both Newcastle to kind of stay up in the league. I think from that game we'll kind of really be able to gather which team is actually going to stay up. Let me bring up the fixtures quickly before we do move on into the rest of the team. So we kicking us off with the Newcastle Villa game, as just stated. The Leeds v Chelsea game is something that you alluded to, Ethan, earlier with the potential Werner captaincy. I do think Chelsea should have a lot of fun in this game, although they've been very, very defensive of late. So I'm personally someone who will be playing Rafinha as I move on back to my team. Yeah, I'll be playing Rafinha this week against Chelsea. I don't particularly see a reason to transfer anyone in at the minute. The one transfer I'm thinking of making is getting Gundogan out, just because he's played back-to-back games in the Premier League. I think it was a Saturday and a Wednesday fixture. So to me, it screams that he's going to get benched, especially if they just played the Fulham game and then had a week's break. Then I reckon I'd be keeping Gundogan, or would 100% be keeping Gundogan. Right now I'm thinking of transferring out, because ahead of the game against Borussia Mönchengladbach, which I believe they play on Tuesday, if I'm not wrong. It might be on a Wednesday. But yeah, they play Borussia Mönchengladbach on Tuesday, and they also just play Fulham on Saturday. So Gundogan would have played kind of 4 back-to-back games. And I don't think he's going to be putting out many of his starters on Saturday ahead, or many of the kind of main guys. I can see De Bruyne potentially getting a rest. I can see Gundogan getting a rest. Sterling didn't play, so I reckon Sterling definitely does play. Foden will probably get a rest. Bernardo Silva will probably get a rest. Fernandinho maybe. You can see the kind of that he's probably favouring Laporte now in the Champions League games with the way the rotation is going. You can see that that Stones will probably play against Fulham, and then Laporte should play in the Champions League game. But to be fair, with Pep, you can never really predict what's going to happen. We can all have educated guesses, but at the end of the day, Who knows? I'm looking for a keeper that plays in 29 and has a good fixture. Who do you think I should get? Well, if you're looking for, I guess, a keeper that solely has a good fixture in game week 29, there's kind of, I guess, 4 teams that I would look to. You could potentially go for Meslier at Leeds, although Fulham have been looking quite good going forward. If Meslier keeps a clean sheet, he would definitely get a lot of save points. He'd probably be on the kind of the lowest out of the 4, though. You've got Areola, but Areola's a bit of a weird one because, yes, Fulham have been keeping a lot of clean sheets, but I also expect that many people will have some kind of like Leeds double or triple up. So bringing in a Fulham goalkeeper to then play against your Leeds assets seems a bit counterintuitive. Then you've probably got the best game for a clean sheet, which most likely is going to end 0-0 because both sides won't want to lose the game, and that's Newcastle versus Brighton. And Sanchez, I still believe he is at 4.5, may have gone up a little bit. But Sanchez in that game seems like he very well could be the one. So I'd probably go for Sanchez or Dubravka, but as Sanchez is cheaper, probably Sanchez. I'm the best captaincy option this week. Mendy has an injury. Some inside info. Chelsea could well go and keep a clean sheet. Although, captaining Kepa with the blunders and the very high potential of maybe him scoring an own goal or getting a yellow card sent off, probably not somewhere I'd be doing with. But I mean, if you go for it and it pays off, all to you. Tips, how you doing, fella? Harry, how's it going? How did your game week go? I saw you on Twitter screaming about Gundogan. So I'm assuming you had Gundogan, and like me, I'm assuming you had him captained as well. It was a pretty. I feel like a lot of people had a decent week this week. From what I've seen, although the average is 60, which is a very, very high average. A very high average. So I feel like it's a weird old season. So you got 74. So I feel like 74 is like not. It should be a green arrow, but I feel like you've probably just stayed around that. I know you're quite high up as well, so you've probably just stayed about the same rank. Which just seems a bit, 74 points. That's got to be a green arrow. But yeah, it's one of them weird old seasons where you can, get really good scores week in, week out, but you have to get like a 90, 100 pointer to actually see any kind of effective green arrow, as I put it. I'm also on pens. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't quite push it as far as Kev being on pens. Willie is playing in goal and I'm playing up front. Okay, so that is the insider information right here. Kepa Arrizabalaga is on pens and is playing up front. This is the information you only receive in this stream. Veltman or Creswell? That's a very two kind of, I guess, defenders on the differing ends of the spectrum, if you know what I mean. So Veltman is very much fodder, who I guess there's a little bit of a risk of rotation, but at the minute with not really knowing not really knowing what's going on with Lamptey, get your words out. I feel like he's a starting decent attacking returns, but Creswell all the way 100%. In any given game, he can grab an assist, and he's been really, really good for bonus points as well when they get a clean sheet. Even when players score, if they win like a game 1 or 2-0, Creswell is still like flying up on those bonus points. So yeah, I'd go for Creswell definitely. Creswell or Dallas. The thing that's tough about the Creswell versus Dallas situation is that Dallas is so good for game week 29 and 30. Has the really, really high potential of hauling, and I think his ownership is reasonably high right now. So if you don't own him, he could hurt you a lot more. Whereas Creswell doesn't quite have the fixtures in 29 and onwards, but Creswell, I think, much longer term, is 100% a better pick than Dallas. So if you were asking me pick solely for the game week 29, I'd say Dallas. But just in general, I'd definitely be going for Creswell. Remove Digne or not going forward. Everton has amazing fixtures though. I mean, for this week, there's no reason to be getting rid of uh, Digne. Come on, man. They play against Burnley, and Burnley, have been scoring a few goals of late. But realistically, the max goals Burnley are going to score is 1 in a game. So you never really run the risk of any minus points. And Digne also has a really good chance of getting an attacking return in this game. Everton could easily go and win this one 2-3-0. It could be a 0-0. Burnley could even win. You never know, and that's the fun of the playing game. But I would not be getting rid of Digne before this game. And Digne to Cresswell game week 29 is I'd say quite a tempting move. But as you say, Everton do have really good fixtures moving forward, and also they have a double game week, which is definitely going to happen, or should definitely be happening, because they have a fixture to be rescheduled against Aston Villa. So that's another thing about Everton assets, is that you will at some point in the future get a double game week. So people will probably be bringing in Everton players at that point. Penguin, how you doing, fella? Hope all is well. Tiny green arrow, yeah, man. It just kind of sucks a little bit, It's one of them where obviously it doesn't suck as much if you have a 50k, 100k, or just like a big red arrow, but you just kind of stomp along to the next week, just like, oh yeah, cool, 74 points. What more can I do? So I think it's like every single thing has to go right for you. But I think it is just the general thing that is going on with FPL. I don't know if this season everyone seems to be a bit more in tune to going on, whether there's a higher kind of active player base, because it seems like the average scores, or maybe it's just because of like the double game weeks and just how the kind of highly owned players are scoring. But yeah, it seems like a year where even if you get I remember last season, if you were getting like 70 pointers, you'd be getting some nice chunky green arrows. So yeah, weird old season. Saka or Bamford for this game week. The thing is, week in, week out, Bamford probably more likely to score. However, the Leeds do play against the best, one of the best, defences in the league. Arguably the best, though. Arguably the best. Man City haven't been keeping too many clean sheets of late. I think I saw a stat from the scout that in the last 6 games they've kept 1 clean sheet or something like that. Do correct me if I am wrong there. But under 2K, that Chelsea side is unbelievable at defending. So also, Saka playing in the North London derby. It's kind of one of them. It's one of those games where anything can happen, really. And I'm thinking of bringing Saka in myself for this game week. So yeah, I'd probably lean towards Saka just because of the chances Bamford has been bottling, and the defence that Leeds are playing against. But Bamford easily, either one could easily go and outscore the other. Who to cap? Kane, KDB, Salah, or Dean? I'd go for. I mean, it's a tough choice out of those. Salah's really on really poor form at the minute, so he's one of those. I will always say that Salah has the potential to haul. He does. He always has the potential to haul. But I think that just on the form they've been, I can't I can't suggest Salah. I go for Kane. I think it may be boring. Some people may put it down as boring, but it's simple. He's smashing it of late. He's got a good record against Arsenal, so I see no reason not to go for Kane this week. Digne is definitely a big punt, has a potential of hauling, but just a little bit too risky for me. 73 points for me this week. Started at 1.8 mil, finished on 1.8 mil, mate. Oh dear, mate. What? As I said, it just feels it's one of those seasons where it's just like, what can you do? What can you do? Who's everyone captaining this week? Kane. It's got to be. If you own Kane and you're not captaining him, then who are you captaining, really? I guess maybe Sterling is. If you own Sterling, then I think there's a very good argument for potentially captaining Sterling. But other than that, I just think Kane is just for me, it just has to be. You overall think Vestergaard isn't going to keep a clean sheet because Brighton are hungry not to get relegated. That's the thing, yeah. Brighton's expected goals. On the last video, I was not necessarily just surprised, but at how high actually up Brighton on the list are. I knew that their expected stats were a lot more than they've been scoring, but they genuinely have one of the highest expected goals in the league. Um, so yeah, I think it'll be an interesting game. Probably one I may actually tune into because it's two sides that actually play quite nice football. Like they do pass the ball around quite a lot, and very nicely as well. So yeah, I can see Brighton scoring in this game, and as you say, they're hungry not to get relegated. They've been unfortunate with a few results of late. Things just haven't been, you know, going their way. Obviously, that's somewhat down to them and somewhat just generally being unfortunate. Like losing to West Brom 1-0, you could argue that free kick should have stood, but also they went and missed two penalties. So potato. Why isn't Lingard on the app anymore? Is it not? What is he not on the app? I can see him right. I mean, the photo you can see on your screen. Was a picture I took from the app. I don't know if you mean from transfers, maybe because he doesn't have a game week this week. I know he still should be, but I don't know. I captain him out this week. Leeds is his type of fixture. Yeah, I think Mount is one that I'm really, really tempted by. It's just the sort of thinking in my head that I can bring Mount in for a really nice fixture against Leeds. Then he blanks game week 29, but then has really nice game week like 30 fixtures onwards, or I bring in Saka, who has a game at 29, so we get those extra guaranteed points. But Arsenal don't have the easiest of fixtures in 29 against West Ham, so it could well only be a 2-pointer. Whereas Mount, has a high potential of absolutely banging this weekend. So yeah, it's a tough decision. I'm leaning towards Saka at the minute just because of how good a fixtures. 31 to 35. I don't know if you guys have had a look at Arsenal's fixtures, but my word, 31 to 35. Jeez. Their fixtures are absolutely unreal. I think with all games being on telly, it means people can be more informed, and also that keeps reminding of the FPL. Yeah, I think there are a lot more, especially people I know who haven't really been that into FPL previously, have not only kind of got into FPL, but got into FPL and like followed it a lot more seriously. And yeah, I think with the football being on, it reminds people to do their teams and just get. People have a lot less things to do now than they did previously. So maybe people are using that time when they would be like down the pub or seeing mates to just have a look at their FPL teams and ponder. I know I spend a lot more time pondering over my FPL team than I used to. I mean, I still used to spend a hell of a lot of time. But now it's just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Should I do this? Who can I captain? Who should I captain? But yeah, it's all good fun. Is Rudiger still nailed on? Reviews on Jota. Thanks so much for answering the questions. No worries, man. Is Rudiger still nailed on? It's hard. I mean, after he's just been benched, it's very hard to say yes to that question. Although I think he will play more games than he doesn't. A lot more games than he doesn't. The benching was probably similar thing as Mount, just before Champions League, give the main guys a rest. But yeah, I think keep an eye on how Chelsea do in the Champions League. If they do get knocked out, then all of the main men, Mount, Rudiger, they'll probably all be starting. But before Champions League games, we could in the future see some rotation from Tuchel, as he's kind of, very much setting that precedent of this is what I'm going to do before a Champions League game. Rudiger's definitely not nailed on when Silva is back. Be Aspi, Silva, and then rotate Rudiger, Zuma, and Christensen. Yep, I think that's, Dylan's put it very well now, and probably knows a lot more about Chelsea than I do. So, take it from Dylan. Looks like Aspi is the main nailed-on player right now. Kane or Watkins to captain Watkins. Massive differential. Harry Kane for me is just like, I don't know. I've been going very simple with my captaincies of late, and it's been paying off. You can go differential. I just feel like the majority of the time going differential in the long run isn't necessarily going to pay off. Obviously, week by week, if you pick a player like Watkins and he goes and bangs against Newcastle, then it could pay off. But I guess as a long-term strategy, I'd probably always just be choosing Harry Kane in this situation. More times than not, he will outscore Watkins, and that's why personally I'm going with Kane. But that's as I said, that doesn't mean that Watkins can't outscore Kane in this game week or in any given game week. It's just over I guess the long run of a season, Kane will outscore Watkins. So let's take a quick run through the rest of the team. So as I mentioned before, we've got Rafinha in there playing against Chelsea, and my main kind of transfer ponder, I guess, this week is Gundogan. Now, if Gundogan doesn't play, I do get Bamford off the bench. It will be a double up of Leeds against Chelsea though, and it's not something that I love, but it's one of those where I could get lucky off the bench. With Bamford maybe nabbing a goal. He scored against them in the reverse fixture, but obviously that was against Frank Lampard's Chelsea, which is a very different Chelsea to the one that we are seeing now. We've got Son in there, we've got Fernandes in there, just players I'm definitely not looking at moving out at all, pretty much until the end of the season, I think. With Son due to have a double game week, and after they have the blank in 33, Spurs have unreal fixtures. I guess I pose a question as well to you guys. Would you triple up on Spurs? Would you go Bale, Son, Kane? It's something that I have debated. I can go Gundogan to Bale, so it is potential. At the minute, Bale for me is just still, I don't know, he's not nailed enough yet. And also just, with him being injury prone, I do think that when he's available to play, he will be playing because he's better than Moura, better than Bergwijn, better than Dele Alli. So when he's available to play, he will play 100%. But yeah, for me, it's still just a kind of hold off on Bale, especially with a lot of Spurs are going to be playing a lot of fixtures coming up, so we could see a fair amount of rotation. But against Arsenal, Jose Mourinho is 100% going to be playing his best team. And I think Bale is included within said best team. So, yeah, I think Bale for this week, and the fact that he also has a game at 29. Could be, Kobe, as you say, thoughts on Gundogan to go. Thoughts on Gundogan to Bale is something I've definitely debated. I just think the triple up on Spurs is just, I don't know, maybe a little bit too risky for me. The double up I'm completely fine with. It's just, I guess, having that reliance on a single team week in, week out. Whereas, if it's the double up with Kane and Son, I can still very much tap into it. But yeah, you just don't have that reliance week in, week out. But, week in, week out, when you have the good weeks, it's going to be real good. So yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. I mean, I guess I'm very, very glad to be in the position where I have at least the double up, and it's kind of the potential triple up that I am thinking of, and I'm not kind of sat here trying to twiddle or find a way of getting the likes of Kane or the likes of Son in. So yeah, I'm pleased I'm in that boat. It's quite a comfortable position to be in moving forward. That's risky. Say if Spurs score 0, you have 3 blanks in one. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, Dylan. It's a little bit too risky, especially with my plan on pretty much captaining Kane for a long, the foreseeable future. That's effectively 4 players because of the double on Kane. So if that's 3 blanks, that it'll effectively be 4 blanks in one single game, which it's going to happen. Kane is going to blank again this season. Son is gonna blank again this season, and Bale will be blanking again this season. So yeah, it could really hurt on the weeks where they do all blank. We're tempted to triple Spurs this week. Slight worry is Bale seems to have taken off a lot, so most likely wouldn't play at full 90. Yeah, he's been coming off at the 60th to 70th minute in most games, so you could even have a game where he gets pulled off before the 60th minute. So yeah, for sure, Bale. If you're going for, I'm not going to completely discourage people for going for him because I still think he could be a great pick. And as I say, the Son versus Bale argument is a very much, Bale gives you the X factor, Son gives you the consistency. So I'm a bit more risk averse. I'm trying to be more risk averse. So Son is the one I'm going for. But all respect to you if you are going to go for Bale. Mount one to watch this week, 100% on. 100% against Leeds, could easily smash it. I've seen people in there say that they're potentially thinking about captaining Mount. Don't know if I go as far as captaining Mount, but yeah, easily has a potential to smash it. Iheanacho, another one to watch. Yeah, I think the thing with Iheanacho is he's always one that kind of seems to be on the fringe of that Leicester team. He's been playing, getting really consistent, quite consistent returns of late. I just think, when Barnes, when Maddison do end up coming back, Iheanacho will once again drop to the bench. So I think it's just one of them where the boat may have already sailed on Iheanacho. If you were going to bring Iheanacho in, it was probably a few weeks ago that was a good time to bring him in when Barnes and Maddison kind of first got their injuries. I think Maddison is due back reasonably soon, maybe not for this game week, but with the break that we have, with Leicester not playing in 29 and then the international break, I think the Maddison should be back after the international break, and we'll probably end up seeing Iheanacho drop to the bench when I think Harvey Barnes and Maddison are both back. I feel like with one of them back, there's still potentially space for Iheanacho. But yeah, it's one to maybe look out for. I mean, they do have a really good fixture against Sheffield, so if you really wanted to, this could be the week to do it. But I still think that the ship's probably sailed on Iheanacho. Future transfers: should I sell Diaz and Stones for Christensen and Rudiger? Or should I captain Kane or Bruno for this week? Okay, Kane or Bruno for this week. I'm going to say personally, I'm going Kane. But honestly, with all captaincy decisions, I just say go with your gut. If you think Bruno's going to smash it, go for Bruno. If you think Kane's going to smash it, go for Kane. I've kind of I've had a few captaincy options where, people saying like between Kane and Watkins, when I think that, say, Kane is like more clearly the better option, I probably lean towards, saying go Kane. But when it's like an asset like Bruno, who can, as we saw last week, go and smash it week in, week out, I just say go with your gut, to be honest. Should I sell Diaz and Stones for Christensen and Rudiger this week? No. Against Fulham, Stones probably plays. Diaz most likely plays as well. Fulham, they'll probably keep a clean sheet, could even score. So I wouldn't be snapping them out. I know it's like, it's very unfortunate that, Diaz got a 2-pointer, Stones got benched, got a 1-pointer, and I can understand that would make you want to rage transfer him out. But the reality of the situation is he's likely to play this weekend. Stones is. He's, to sit out 2 games in a row, I think will be quite unlikely. But, as I said before, Pep Roulette is something that always seems to amaze. Is Azpilicueta a good option? 100%. I think we went through Chelsea before, saying that Azpilicueta and Mount seem like the 2 main guys to go for when Thiago Silva comes back. He's probably the one. I think Dylan summed it up really nicely that Rudiger is definitely not nailed on. When Silva is back, it will be Azpi and Silva, and then rotating between Rudiger, Zuma and Christensen. So that summed it up really, really nicely. Hope Jorginho doesn't start, so Mount is on pens. Yeah, I mean, what's the deal with Jorginho? Is he kind of... Would you say he's in favour with Tuchel? Is he rotating him in for, say, Kovacic? Like, who would you say is more in favour out of Kovacic and Jorginho? I feel like Kante, starting to get back to a bit of his best, to be honest. I can't remember what the game was, but watching him play the other day, and he was just scurrying about. It's like the Kante of old, and the kind of the Leicester Kante, the first season Chelsea Kante, when he was just... when all the memes were coming out saying, he's running across the world, and Kante's starting to get back to his best. What do you think of Rafinha? Looks good, but the points doesn't reflect. I'd say, for Rafinha at the minute, he looks really, really good. And I'd say I'd almost disagree with you a little bit that the points don't reflect. He's had 2 blanks in a row, but it has been against West Ham, who are going for Champions League. And FPL have changed their fixtures to a 4 difficulty. He blanked against Aston Villa, who have been really good defensively this season. So that's kind of no surprise. I will say against West Ham, he should have scored 100%. If you watch that game, how Rafinha didn't score, is absolutely mental. That they definitely should have scored. And then before that, he returned in the Leeds game. And in the Leeds game, he plays for Leeds. He returned in the Southampton game. He got 2 bonus points in a game that he didn't even get an attack in return. He got an assist before that. He got an assist before that. He got a goal before that. He got an assist before that. He got a goal and assist before that. So I'd say that he has been returning, especially for a player of 5.5 billion. Those kind of returns, 100% with a game week 29 against Fulham and a game week 30 against Sheffield. Rafinha looks great and definitely one to own. I'm surprised he's still, I guess, slowly. He's still got such a low ownership. But yeah, Rafinha, great option. What do you think? Match free transfers straight to Creswell. Nice move. I've got to say that. Very nice move. Rudiger and Target to Shaw and Aspi for 30. Yeah, Shaw's definitely one I am looking at bringing in myself. Just trying to figure out a way I can do it because I really want him, but I don't want to kind of force him into my team. But if there is a way of bringing Shaw into my team without making kind of unnecessary moves, I'd say, and making sure that the rest of the team is good. Yeah, I really do like Shaw. They play against, I think, Burnley in game 32. Then they play against Leeds, then Liverpool, then Villa. So yeah, it's a nice little run of fixtures. Liverpool definitely shouldn't be a 4 at the minute, so that's an easier fixture. Leeds, you can do some damage, and Villa, you'd probably expect United to win that game. So yeah, the game week 32, Luke Shaw should hopefully be coming into my team. Hopefully he doesn't go and get himself injured. But yeah, Jota review. So yeah, we've only really seen Jota come back for one game. Basically, there was a lot of hype around him, and to be fair, those people who predicted he was going to come back and brought him in were right in the sense that he played a full 90 minutes, but unfortunately he didn't go and score. And I think Jota's still one that personally I'm staying clear of. He's got a very nice run of fixtures, and as with a lot of players, he can score in any game. But I just think the rotation with Jota, it's not for me personally. I think he's very high risk of rotation. I can see him maybe playing one week he plays, 1 week he doesn't, sort of thing. I think Jota for me is just it's a no for the minute. It's just like a wait and see whether he continues to get consistent game time. And I think up until game week 33, Liverpool have decent fixtures. They play against Wolves. They blank 29, so not great. They have Arsenal, Villa, Leeds. So against Leeds, it's a very good fixture for an attacker. But then game week 33 onwards, they look like they have very nice fixtures. So you potentially want to bring him in around game week 32. When they do play against Leeds. So I'd sort of use the next, 4-5 weeks of football as just sort of like keep your eye on Jota, see how he does, see what minutes he gets, and then make your judgment based on that. But personally, I don't think I'd be bringing him in just yet. I feel like Kovacic and Kante will play against Leeds. Tuchel likes to play Jorginho versus good teams because he's calm on the ball. Yep, completely fair enough. I've not really seen it too much personally, but I saw some people say that Jorginho looks like a bit of a new player, or maybe like a reborn player under Tuchel. Just as you say, like very calm under the ball. Distribution is on point, moving the ball between the defence and attack rather seamlessly. Tuchel needs Jorginho versus Atletico, so he might be benched against Leeds. Yeah, we could. Yeah, that's completely fair enough. Analysis there. My team is Martinez, Wan-Bissaka, Diaz, Stones, Rafinha, Bruno Bale, Son, DCL, Kane, Watkins, 3-4-3. I see a lot of people going with the 3-back. And personally, this week going with the 4-back for pretty much throughout the season. I have been going 3 at the back, and I think 3 at the back is a pretty decent way to go. It's just when you say have Bamford playing against Chelsea and Vestergaard against Brighton, for me, I'm going with Vestergaard against Brighton. Should I use my transfer to bring in a differential? I need to climb in my mini league. So let me have a little think about this team. Wan-Bissaka, Diaz, Stones, Rafinha, Bruno, Bale, Son. I mean, to be fair, Bale, Son and Kane as a combination is massively differential. I don't know what the state of your mini league is at, like whether your mini league all kind of had that combination, but in terms of an overall perspective, having Kane and Bale is, I think, for the game week, the big double game week, so game week 26, having Son and Kane was somewhat differential. I don't think having Kane and Son now is like differential really at all with the amount of people who've been bringing Kane in and Son over the past week because they've been playing very well. But having the triple up is 100% differential. Bale is differential enough by himself, but having then the triple up on Spurs attack, 100% differential. So I guess you've probably got a massive boost there. In terms of making your transfer for this week, it seems to me like that team is like absolutely fine to go for this week. I'd potentially just roll the transfer in for the game week 29. Give yourself 2 free transfers to go into the blank game week with, because you never know, your players there could be some kind of injuries that get picked up, and to a player that you bring in for say game week 29 this week. So yeah, I'd say roll the transfer to game week 29. I think having 2 free transfers for the blank game week 29 is going to be very powerful and going to be very, very good for those managers who roll the transfer and have that at their disposal. How to overcome game week 33 blank for the major teams, specifically the people with no chips. Yeah, it's a long way off, but it's definitely something to potentially think about. So at the minute, from all I can see, Spurs are the team that are blanking, and Man City are as well. I don't know if maybe the likes of Manchester United or if there are any other teams that are kind of due to blank come game week 33. But at the minute, from what I see on the FPL website and the fixtures that I've been looking, it's mainly in terms of the big teams. Spurs and Man City. Mine went a little blank there for a second. Firstly, I'm personally in the boat of I think it's time to start not necessarily pushing your Manchester City assets out, but time to kind of slowly make the moves out. So say for the likes of Stones, for example, or Cancelo, I think keeping them for this week against Fulham, like good idea. Although they've just not only have did they get a 1-pointer. Well, I guess they did just get a 1-pointer. They got a 1 point in the first leg of the double game week. They then didn't play in the second round. So I think for this Fulham game, hold on to them. But maybe for game week 29, then it's potentially time to start moving on. One of the likes of Stones or Cancelo to say like a Creswell. Then with regards to Gundogan, I'm definitely personally looking at taking him out for game week 29. But yeah, I think it's kind of slowly maybe moving away and not necessarily having a triple up on Manchester City assets, or maybe only having Diaz. And then I guess, that's the reason why I'm also potentially not going to triple up on Spurs, is because of that blank game week. Having a triple up on Spurs means that, I wouldn't want to transfer any of them out, but I would just have to put them on a bench and maybe not field a full 11. Another thing to say, I guess, for blank game weeks, or for that blank game week in particular, is make sure that if you are sort of starting to take value out of players, so say with the defenders or even the midfielders, you're starting to trying to kind of extract a bit of value and bring in kind of bench fodder players. Make sure that those bench fodder players are players who actually play. Is I'd say, at the minute with the way that the FPL is, a lot of people have a lot of money in the bank, and I don't think you necessarily have to have or spend all of your money to have a really good team. So say having someone like a Dan Burn or a Jamal Lewis, or just someone really cheap who's playing week in, week out on your bench as fodder, maybe even having both if you really want to go like cheap in the defence, but having players who play week in, week out on your bench can be massive. Just if you pick up an injury, if something happens before the blank game week, and all of a sudden you just don't have that rotation even from your fodder options, as I say. So yeah, I think it's good to kind of maybe start moving away from Man City and making sure you have decent fodder options. Thoughts on Castan to Creswell and Gundogan to J Lings. Castan to Creswell, really like, and Gundogan to J Lings. Yeah, I really, really like both those moves. Really, really like both those moves. Sean, thoughts on keeping Salah? I personally moved him out. Don't think he's playing too well. I can kind of see why people kept a hold of Salah, because he's got really good fixtures and definitely could be a really good player from like game week 30 onwards. They have really, really, really good fixtures. But yeah, just at the minute for me, Liverpool just going through a bit of a crisis, to be honest, in terms of their form. So I don't particularly want to go anywhere near them. Leeds are kind of blanking too, I think. Oh wait, no, yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Leeds have got a tough fixture though in game week 33, so yeah, it's one to consider. Take Asp or Queen. Keane, Azpilicueta for me would be the one to go for out of Azpilicueta and Keane. Just looks really good for a long period of time. They're both blank in the game week 29. The only thing that Keane probably has over Azpilicueta is a double game week at some point in the future. But I think even with that double game week, Azpilicueta will probably outscore Keane come the end of from this point until the end of the season. Get your questions in if you want something. Yeah, man, positive vibes in here only. Sean, yeah, telling people to shush in the chat. And it's not the one for it's not the one. It's good vibes in here, and I appreciate everyone coming along. You know, expressing their thoughts, comments. It's so like as I say, FPL is completely a game of opinion. So if you don't agree with something that I say, I'm completely fine for you to criticize that and like give your opinion. That is literally why I play the game and what the game is about. But yeah, you know, saying that people's opinion is just completely invalid because your opinion is different. Yeah, it ain't the one. Do Everton and Villa have a double game week this month? I don't know about this month, but they will have a game week at some point in the future. Michael, how you doing? Liverpool couldn't win an agreement, let alone a game. Yeah, man. Liverpool, they're having a bit of a stinker at the minute. And I will say to anyone new around here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Post daily FPL content and really enjoying the kind of positivity we're having around here. Yeah, I really appreciate all the support as well. Hit that like button if you are enjoying the stream as well. And will Everton have a possible double game week 30? Honestly, I'm not sure. There was a lot of talk about there possibly being a double game week 28 for Everton. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. It's just all the speculation. Everton will have a double game week, I think. Well, they should anyway, at some point until the end of the season, I think. Unless it comes, I don't know if Ben Crellin has said anything, but I think unless it comes for him and unless it comes from the Premier League, obviously, because Ben Crellin is someone who he smashes it. He pretty much gets everything right, so I think that is a very trustworthy source for prediction of fixtures. But yeah, unless anything is said there, it would literally just be, if I said yes, it would be complete. I'd be talking rubbish basically. It's complete speculation at the minute. I think over when Everton will have their double game week. But if you own Everton assets, you do have that, I guess, in your back pocket that they will. Said argument not agree. Yeah, man. I got your gist, man. I got your gist. Yeah, I agree with you. Liverpool just don't agree. Ben Quentin said 60% chance. Okay, that's a lot more because I think for this week you put it down as a 20% chance. So 60% chance is encouraging for Everton in terms of them having the double game week. So if you own Everton assets, then maybe that is. I don't know. Do you know when that? I guess that possibility because that 6% possibility will be based on something happening. So do you know what that is and when that is going to happen? So people can, I guess, make those decisions. Rangers 0, Slavia 1, Sufal 1, Suchak. I'm happy. Yeah, man. Rangers, no, Slavia. This is the first round of fixtures for the Europa League, isn't it? Like it was for the Champions. Oh no, it might be the second. No, what am I talking about? It's the second round. It's the second round of fixtures. Slavia Prague 1, Rangers 0. Oh no, it's the first. Sorry, it's the first round of the Europa League, and. What am I on about? I'm having a right on me. Yeah, of course, it's the first round of fixtures. What am I on about? So it's the first round of fixtures for the Europa League, and it's the second round of fixtures for the Champions League. Okay, got that one sorted. Yeah, thing is, Stevie G's been doing very, very well at Rangers, wrapping up the Scottish League title. It's been a long time since Rangers have won as well, so fair play to him there. But yeah, Slavia Prague smashing it. You got United versus Milan. That's actually a pretty decent game, and Arsenal playing tonight along with Spurs. So definitely games to keep an eye on. The lineups I will be rather interested in because if Bale ends up playing in that game, then yeah, it's definitely one to watch out for the weekend. But I do see Bale starting against Arsenal, so it's only if he gets some kind of injury, I guess, that he probably won't be playing. But yeah, guys, we've been going for about an hour now, so I am thinking of wrapping this up pretty soon. So if you've got any last minute questions, do get them in. I will be doing a deadline stream tomorrow. I might make it a little bit longer. I might start, say, like 45, an hour before the deadline. Just make it a little bit longer. It's easier as it's in the evening, so it'll be nice to go a little bit longer. But yeah, any last minute questions, and we'll wrap this up pretty soon. What time is the deadline tomorrow? Actually, I'm pretty sure it's 6:30. So that would mean that I would probably start streaming between 5:30 and 6 for tomorrow's stream. So yeah, 8 o'clock tomorrow is the 8 o'clock is the game versus Newcastle versus Villa. So the deadline will be 6:30, and so I'll probably start streaming anywhere between 5:30 and 6. 6 o'clock latest though. So if you're around at 6, I will 100% be going live by 6 o'clock. How many years have I been playing FPL? So I've not actually been playing FPL for a kind of really long time. I'd say I got like about 4 years. I think I've been playing, but the first season was very on and off. 3 years I'd say I've been playing it kind of seriously, and then year on year I just take it more and more seriously. Do a lot of research. So yeah, I'm like not, I guess, too aged or too experienced in terms of FPL and my seasons, but like yeah, for me it's just all a bit of fun, and it's all about people having different opinions, and yeah, having fun with it, and having those kind of mini rivalries in your mini leagues, going for the overall. Obviously, I think everyone were. If you're in the top 100k, completely fair play to you. I think that is the general aim each season, is to try and get a top 100k finish. Anything above that is probably just a massive bonus. But yeah, that's my aim for the rest of the season. If I can get anywhere near top 100k, if I can get in the top 100k, I will be buzzing. I will be absolutely buzzing. But yeah, I'm not too experienced in terms of FPL. But yeah, it's just love the game, love chatting about it, and love just discussing it with everyone on here. So I'm very glad that I've kind of, I'm able to do this, and all of the support and the positive vibes, as we like to do around here, Dylan, as we like to do. Yeah, it's been really good. So I'll hang about for one more minute to let these last minute questions come through, and then I'll wrap it up. I'm going to take Keane for this game week and Asp in game week 30. How about that? I mean, it's one of them where if you've got the transfers, go for it. But it seems like, yeah, if you've got the transfers, why not? But just using one transfer to transfer effectively the same spot out each week, when you're probably, you can't predict what's going to happen in FPL, and you may well get a fire for game week 29. And also, are you going to be able to field 11 players for 29? Because you may also want to have a look at game week 29, plan a bit ahead for that, because that you're going to want to have players. If your whole team, or if most of your players are blanking for 29, then you're definitely going to want to be using your transfers to get game week 29 players in. But yeah, it's not not particularly bad moves for sure, especially with Keane. If you've got that money for Azpilicueta, then if it is a one game week punt, why not go for Luca Dean? Yeah, why not go for Luca Dean? Because much more attacking potential, and bonus point potential as well. So if it is a one game week punt for an Everton defender, then Luca Dean's probably the one I go for. Come out watch tomorrow. Yeah, cheers, Michael. Thanks for joining in. And yeah, I will be wrapping up the stream there. Thanks everyone for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and hit that like button if you have enjoyed the stream. And I will catch everyone tomorrow at about 5:30 for the deadline stream. Have a good one.